causes accidents? I think everybody's read many, many accidents reports over the years. And the most common thing that we find, and I'm sure the other clubs will agree, that we see the terms human error and failure to follow procedures all the time. And then the report is put in a drawer somewhere, and the person and the procedures are blamed. Ironically, what usually happens then, if it's a human error case, is they make yet another procedure to follow to stop the human error happening in the first place, and it's another procedure not to be followed. And thus continues the vicious circle of human error and failure to follow procedures. As Maria was explaining, we believe that safety culture alongside sensible systems and the correct crew are the only way to fix this problem. The right crew involves attracting and recruiting and retaining the correct crew. I'm sure you all have very good policies, the ship owners in the room, for that. Sensible systems equals usable systems. And safety behaviour is exactly as Maria was talking about there. We saw, since the beginning of the ISM code and the SMS being produced on board, there was an increase in safety. However, it has plateaued as we got into the vicious circle that I mentioned before of procedures becoming more and more complex. The SMS, in our opinion, and myself as an ex-seafarer, has actually become a little bit more of a legal document to cover themselves than it has as it was intended in the first place, which is something to guide seafarers to behave and act safely and show them the correct way to act. And therefore, the first scales you see there is where we believe a lot of people are sat at the moment. Very systems-heavy organisation with the humans in second place. So how do we make it the second set of scales, a more person-centric approach to safety within the company? I talked about recruitment and the right crew earlier. Lots of companies out there putting the best things out to attract the correct people into their organisation. They've made up sensible recruitment policies, so when they have interviews and check-in references, they're getting the best people through the door and they're offering them a job. They're then collating extensive training matrices. They're spending a lot of money on those training matrices, making sure that their guys have all the right fuel to go on board their ships and perform. You've essentially fueled up your fleet, and your seafarers are now your expensive range of supercars. There they are, ready to go and perform for you. But without usable systems and a believable safety culture, that's the road you're asking your supercars to perform on. Doesn't matter how good the car is now, a supercar isn't going to go very far without damaging itself or having an accident on a road such as that. So, if we have good safety behaviour and sensible, usable procedures to make the tarmac for our road, we think your supercars will perform better on this kind of track. No matter how good the car is, it is going to need the right road to travel on. Therefore, we finished with Safety Management 1.0 and we've upgraded the software. Safety Management 2.0, as I said before, companies have been quite heavily based on procedures because of the ISM code. And we're not suggesting not to follow the ISM code, we're suggesting to make it a little more person-centric. You have to have systems, but let's make them sensible. Let's make them usable by the people on the coalface, the people on the front line, to avoid the human error and not following procedures that they didn't understand in the first place. What are we doing about it? We're in partnership with some people. I'm an ex-seafarer, and all of our loss prevention department are. So we're working in partnership with people such as Green Jacobsen to assist our members and the industry in general to try and build that safety behaviour. We believe in it. We're also working with Lavoie, who is a gentleman that takes systems and procedures and simplifies them, importantly, without losing any of its content. This, we believe, will give you the ingredients to make the tarmac, to make the road for your supercars to drive on. An example of not losing Any content when discussing simplifying your SMS is seen at the side of every road that you drive on. Here we have a good sign. Everybody knows what that 80 in a circle means. It means drive at 80 kilometers an hour maximum. However, what it actually means, it is prohibited by law for the operator of any vehicle to operate such vehicle at actual velocity above 80 kilometers per hour, Highway Code 17126, control of a vehicle. Did we need all of those words, or was the 80 in a circle enough? Why should it be any different for the ship? Due to feedback from the seafarers that have taken part in simplifying SMS, we've reduced word counts by up to 65%, with feedback of improved usability of 70%. That's directly from those people using it. For those people that are operating now, they're sitting saying vetting won't allow us to do this. This has also been proven to be untrue. Some of our members are large tanker companies, for example, working with oil majors, and this has been extremely successful amongst those as well, because we are not losing content. We are the 80 sign. Everybody knows what it means, and we are still following the law. Safety behaviour was the other ingredient for the road for our supercars. How did we get those to scale out? So we've talked about the sensible and usable systems. The seafarers are happy with that now. We've got the good seafarers, they're going to follow that. We've got the supercars, we've got half the ingredients. The safety behaviour and safety culture is a word we heard at the SAFETY4SEA Awards yesterday, maybe 8, 9 times. We use it a lot. We've used it a lot here. Saying it is quite simple. Carrying it out is a much more difficult task. It has to be a top-to-bottom belief. We can't any longer just tell the seafarers to follow procedures and it was their fault and it was human error. Everybody in the office, from the very man at the top to the man who's cooking the good dinner, on board to keep the crew happy, has to believe in this. We have to promote challenging unsafe behaviour, which is something we don't see very often from those at the bottom of this chain. During my career, I was lucky enough to work both the Merchant Navy and in oil and gas in the North Sea, where even in a senior rank, a roustabout, which is basically an ordinary seaman, would have absolutely no problems walking right up to me and saying, "I'm not doing it that way. I think we should do it like this." So what's the difference? Many, many years ago, oil and gas was exactly the same. And I've written at the top there, time to mature. And that's what it needs patience. It didn't get to that roustabout walking up to me telling me he wasn't going to do the work like this overnight. We had some quite horrific accidents, Piper Alpha, etc. And over time, things were changed until the whole mindset was changed. So you're going to need patience. This isn't a procedure that we put in a document, everybody reads it and they now understand a different way of doing things. You're actually changing the way people work and the way they think. We need to encourage open communications. And that goes back to promoting this challenging. Get everybody involved. Asking for a near-miss report twice a month, which the captain fills in and nobody else sees it, is potentially not the best way to promote this kind of environment. I would much rather get a safety suggestion from a steward than a captain. It shows that the top-to-bottom belief in a safe working environment exists. Well measured. I imagine that most of the ship owners here use KPIs such as LTIFs and lagging indicators such as that. I know that you require those for business purposes, but for creating safety culture, I don't think so. I think I'd rather hear from that steward. And therefore, perceived safety culture is something that we believe in. Hence why we made the SCORA project. SCORA is the Safety Culture Organisation Risk Assessment Project, and it allows people from within the organisation that have direct contact with the safety procedures on board to report anonymously back on how they feel on certain cultivators, safety cultivators within the company. This isn't an overnight fix either, but as I said before, changing safety culture is a massive, long project. What things such as SCORA will do, and Safety Delta from Green Jacobson, will allow you to focus on areas where you are currently weak. It'll give you a starting point and a foundation, rather than sitting scratching your head wondering where to begin. We are setting up workshops. Myself here in Greece have run 2 already, with the 2 people that we're working in partnerships with, Green Jacobson and Lovoy AS, such as we believe in this, to try and help the industry and our members to see how to balance those scales and to create a workable, sustainable and mature safety culture, so that when we get reports, we don't see human error and failure to follow procedures anymore. Thank you.